Dame I gospodo, prva borba je Rusija protiv Poljske. Ovo su borbe za finale.
Dobro jutro, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning from Trogir, Croatia. We are live from the 1 versus 1 final round, and this is the first fight of the day. It's the Polish fighter, member of the Brothers of Steel, Krzysztof Szatecki, versus his Russian adversary, Patryk Alexei.
I can say, Matthias, that it will be one of the most interesting fights, because traditionally Poland has a very strong fighters, especially in triathlon. So if in 5 versus 5 and 21 versus 21 in finals, we usually see teams from Russia and Ukraine. In men duels, 1 versus 1, usually it's Poland versus Russia.
And it will be interesting to see if that plays out just the same way this year. There's still a high chance we see at least one of the Polish fighters in the final. But of course, the main favorite fighter is Sergei Ukolov from Russia. And we'll see him just in the next fight.
Ready? Fight!
And here we go in the first fight of the 4th and last day of Battle of the Nations 2014 in the 1 versus 1 triathlon of the men.
Stop fight!
And that's the end of the first round, the longsword competition. And we can see that Szatecki is quite a bit larger than his Russian adversary. Ivan, do you think his size is an advantage in this fight?
Next round is sword and buckler.
I don't think so, Matthias. Size, it's not an advantage in the triathlon. It's, of course, if you are bigger than your opponent, you fight at a bigger distance, but smaller fighters have the advantage in the close combat, and you can see that the fighters clinch often. Can't say that the size is a really big advantage, and especially for such experienced opponents.
Seconds left.
10 seconds left in the intermission before we start off with the sword and buckler competition. And to remind you of the situation, in the sword and buckler competition we have 3 separate fights, out of which each one is stopped after one fighter has scored 3 points.
Ready? Fight!
And here we go with the sword and buckler competition. Both fighters calm and waiting for the other to make a move. And here we go with the second sword and buckler fight. It is stopped. And we're off with the third fight in the second discipline, and after that we will see the sword and shield competition. And this is the start for the final round in the 1 versus 1 fight. Third and final round, sword and shield. Fighters greeting each other before they start in this last competition. And then we will have a winner in this fight. After that, ladies and gentlemen, we're seeing the reigning and defending champion on this list, Sergei Ukolov. While the fighters are getting started. Shutechkiov obviously having some problems with his gauntlet. His adversary giving him the time to sort his armor out, and now they're going again. Not long left to go in this third and final round of their bout. Now this is it. This is the end of the first fight of today. And we're waiting for the marshal's decision on who came out as the winner in this bout.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a few seconds, we are going to announce the winner of this fight. Winner is Petrik Alexei.
And we have a winner, ladies and gentlemen. Petrik Alexei from Russia wins this fight. And here we go with the first round in this bout, the longsword competition. Ukolov against Avenirov. And here we see, I think, just why Sergei Ukolov is still undefeated as the world champion. an incredibly quick and incredibly strong fighter. And he will, of course, try to hold on to his Battle of the Nations reign in the 5th competition. In the 5th Battle of Nations. The fight is interrupted. And off we go with the longsword competition, now restarted after the clinch was broken up by the marshals. But a strong performance also from Avenirov. He tries to close in and keep Ukolov from scoring. This competition is almost over. And it's stopped. The longsword fight is done and dealt with. A very exciting and very entertaining performance by the two fighters so far. And now we're ready to get set and going with the sword and buckler competition. Knight Marshal gets this bout underway in round number 2, sword and buckler. And the first round is done. Fighters are setting up for round number 2 in the sword and buckler competition.
Fight.
And here we go. No fighter able to score 3 points in this clash. But now it's happened. The marshals are setting this bout up again in the starting positions. Still something to discuss, and now we're off with round number 3. The fight is stopped and broken up. Apparently still something to be discussed among the marshals.
Fight.
And here we go again. A bit of taunting between the two fighters. But the fact that no fighter is able to score 3 points just shows how much of a fierce competition this is, and now it's stopped. And this last round at least definitely goes to Sergei Ukolov. Sergei Ukolov already waiting for his adversary from the Ukraine to get up and start fighting in the last round of their duel.
1 more minute until the next round.
And I think Avenirov is just about ready now, so we might as well get started with this round earlier than planned. Both fighters ready. here we go in the third and final round. Now the fight in sword and shield is entirely different from the competition in sword and buckler, since this is about scoring as many points as possible, and thus a little more high speed than the sword and buckler competition, which is very, very tactical. Avenirov displaying very aggressive style, trying to close in, and he lost his sword. Avenirov lost his sword.
Ready?
And this fight is restarted now. A few taunting moments from Sergei Kolov, who displays his experience by staying calm just in front of the crowd, cheering for his adversary. And the time is up. The fight is stopped between Sergei Kolov and Mykola Avenirov. And we are waiting for the judges to score this fight. And we're looking at the Marshall's decision. And the winner is Sergei Kolov. A victory for Sergei Kolov from Russia, who keeps his streak alive and goes on in this competition.
Fighters, prepare yourself.
Now the fighters are getting ready. Evgeny Lapik and Nikolai Avenirov. Lapik in black and red. Avenirov in the blue and yellow surcoat. aggressive bout between these two fighters. Lapik and Avenirov, both very motivated, full of energy in this early bout in today's competition. Although Avenirov has already fought once.
Stop the fight.
And the time is up for the first round between Lapik and Avenirov. A very high-speed competition. Now we see both fighters are ready. Lapik versus Avenirov. And this first round goes to Lapik, who managed to score a few points on the back of his opponent when Avenirov's march forward missed his target. The fighters are getting set up for round 2 in the sword and buckler competition. Fighters are getting set up to compete once more in the sword and buckler competition. You can see that Avenirov is holding his sword in his left hand, whereas Lapik is holding the sword with the right hand. And this is it in the sword and buckler fight, I think. Lapik already back in his corner, whereas Avenirov seems to be still waiting. No, he's now marching back to his corner as well. And we're getting prepared for sword and shield.
Seconds until next round. Fighters, please prepare yourself.
See, Avenirov is using the shield on his right arm. That means there's no armor on his right arm now. Tilt with shield. Now we're set and go. The third round in the fight between Lapik and Avenirov. Evgeny Lapik versus Avenirov.
Fight!
Here we go in this sword and shield competition. firing every now and then with quick hits to the leg of the I'm starting to feel that Avenir just can't bring the speed that he would need to really get Lapik into trouble. Third in on the list. And the Monsters are intervening and resetting the movement for both of the fighters.
Ready? Fight.
Here we go again. Lapik versus Avenirov.
Time.
And the time is up. The time is up in this triathlon competition.
And the winner is Lapik from Russia.
Left.
gentlemen, 1 more minute until next fight. Fighters, please prepare yourself. 1 more minute until next fight.
And we are getting set to see the fight between Mikola Avenirov and Robert Shatetsky. This is the next fight on the list. And Avenirov has already fought 2 times straight against Sergei Ukolov and Evgeny Lapik, and now he's facing another top contestant in this sport, namely the Polish brother of steel, Robert Shatetsky, brother to Krzysztof Shatetsky.
Ready? Fight! Poland versus Ukraine.
And we're off and running with this bout between Robert Shatetsky and Mikola Avenirov. We've already seen Avenirov 2 times before.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is fight for the 5th place. Winner will have 5th place.
And this is the bout for the
Time! Time! Stop!
And I think despite the injury he suffered against Lapik to his right hand, I think Avenirov did pretty well in this fight. Let's see if he chooses to fight the sword and buckler competition with his left or with his right hand. Trying to catch a breath. We can see his support crew hectically trying to fence some air into him with the buckler.
Next round will be between Chris and the buckler.
And he looks really exhausted, really worn out after 2 fights already. Please remember, dear fans in attendance, that the triathlon is the most exhausting competition since it's 6 minutes of fighting without any breaks. Still some discussions among the marshals. And that's of course difficult for the fighters to keep up the momentum when the breaks last this long, to keep the concentration high. But now it looks like the marshals are ready to get the 2nd round in the sword and buckler competition underway.
Are you ready? Fight!
And here we go with the 2nd round in sword and buckler competition. And again, the marshals are discussing about how to score this fight so far. This is the third round in the sword and buckler competition now.
Fight.
And we're set and ready to go, and off we go. And now let's see how the marshals scored this fight. Here we go with the decisive round in the sword and buckler discipline. And this is it. The marshals stop it, and the fighters are heading back to their corners to get set for the third and final round of this fight, the sword and shield fight.
Next round, sword and shield.
And here we go in the final round between Robert Chatetsky and Nikolai Avenirov.
Are you ready?
The fighters are ready, and off we go with the sword and shield competition to determine the winner of this fight, and thus the fighter who takes 5th place in this very strong and very exhausting competition. The marshals are breaking up the fight. And resetting the fighters to the center of the list.
Come to the center of the list.
To get them ready for finishing this fight. Chatetsky just proving how quick he is against a visibly exhausted Nikolai Avenirov, who's had to fight 3 fights in a row, and this is obviously taking its toll. Let's see how the marshals score this bout afterwards, but I think that Chatetsky has proven to be fresher and full of energy as opposed to his adversary Nikolai Avenirov from the Ukraine.
Time.
And this fight is up. Time's up and the fight is over. And now the fighters are just gearing off helmets and gauntlets, and then we'll have a winner. So we're waiting for the official decision from the marshals. Hard to score this fight with a very exhausted Nikolai Avenirov. But you see the signs of respect between the two fighters, just shaking hands, congratulating each other. Now let's see who is the winner of this fight. Marshals are still discussing, and we'll have a decision in a second. And it looks as though the fighters have to gear up once more. It looks as though we have a draw.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will have one more round because we have a tie. One more round with sword and buckler.
And this decisive round now, after we have a draw, will be fought in sword and buckler. and will determine the winner in this fight. Well, this is of course very hard for Mikola Avenirov, who has to deal with an injured hand against a fresher opponent from Poland. Fighters are getting ready, and now we'll have the decisive round in the sword and buckler discipline.
Fight!
And off we go. Let's see who will be the winner. And this is high-level competition with two fighters very eager and very, very talented. And the marshals are discussing. Now let's see who has the better end in the. Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, the rain has started to set in again, just like we had it yesterday. And I will have to wait and see if it's just about as heavy as we experienced it yesterday. While the fighters are getting to the center of the list, Avenirov has been waiting there. Shatetsky was in his corner for a second, just some repair to the armor, I think. They've been working on his left arm. I think something opened up there. But he's ready again and set to go.
It seems that we have nice Scottish weather. Rain.
And the club Aina Berna, which Mikola Avenirov fights for, has won every triathlon competition at the Ukrainian tournaments this year. So it's not a surprise that with Avenirov we have a very, very strong triathlon fighter here. In this fight for 5th position overall. And the marshals are discussing again. Avenirov still waiting for the decision and for the confirmation of the end of his 3rd fight in a row, but I think he'll have to go on once more. And this is in fact the case. The marshal is starting. No, this is it. And we have a winner, and the winner is Robert Shatetsky from Poland. We have a winner, so Avenirov defeated after 3 straight fights.
Fighters, are you ready? Fight!
Fighters are set. Lapik against Krzysztof Shatetsky.
Long
And just look at Evgeny Lapik chopping down his opponent. Heavy strikes to the leg of the Polish fighter. Lapik really proving why he is the world #2 contender, and certainly one of the strongest opponents for Sergei Okolov. The fight is interrupted and reset. Marshals are talking to Krzysztof Shatetsky.
Fight!
And here we go again. And just look at the speed of Evgeny Lapik in comparison to his larger opponent. Lapik landing a series of strikes to Shatetsky's left leg, significantly slowing him down in his movements. And I think there's no doubt in who is in the lead in this bout. The fight is broken up. Shatetsky drops his helmet. And we'll have to wait and see how this goes on. And the fighters are getting set for the sword and buckler competition. And we can also see that in Lapik's corner there's Sergei Ukolov standing and watching his fellow Russian fighter, as Lapik now enters the center of the list to face Shatetsky in the sword and buckler competition. And off we go with this fight. Round number 2. Evgeny Lapik versus Robert Krzysztof Shatetsky. Evgeny Lapik, by the way, a training partner for yesterday's world champion Tatiana Guseva. They're both training with Club Bayard in Russia. First round is over. Hard to score. It's incredibly difficult to see for the marshals who scores the 3 points first. That's what we have the marshals for. And off we go with round 2. Shatetsky versus Lapik. The marshals are interrupting. Apparently some talking to do. And off we go again.
Stop.
Marshals are still discussing. Krzysztof Shatetsky just checking in with his corner. I think he asked a question and obviously received an answer because he's moving back to the center of the list. And I think we'll have the fight continue. That's the fact. Sword and buckler Shatetsky versus Lapik. This is round 2 of their triathlon bout. After that, we'll see the sword and shield competition. And that's it in the sword and buckler fight.
Next round, sword and shield.
Shatetsky ridding himself of gauntlets and helmet, just catching a breath. And obviously he goes to talk to the marshals. which according to the rules should not happen. The fighters should not interact with the marshals. But it doesn't look as if he's unhappy with something. I think he was just checking on the scoreline to adjust his tactics for round 3. Because if he knows that he's in the lead, then he can just sit back and relax and defend his lead against his Russian adversary. But if he's behind, then he'll have to attack. And now he's moving over to Yevgeny Lapik's corner and greeting his opponent and hugging him. And I think that this looks a lot as if Shatetsky withdrew from the fight. Or does he not? We'll have to wait and see.
Here is Russia, Lapik Yevgeny.
Yes, Shatetsky has withdrawn from the fight, and the winner is Yevgeny Lapik from Russia. We'll just have to wait and see. He's at the interview now.
Next fight is Petrik Alexei from Russia versus Ukolov Sergey, also from Russia. Fighters, please prepare yourself.
На ресталище приглашаются Петрик Алексей и Уколов Сергей.
And the fighters are getting ready. Petrik Alexei and Sergey Ukolov. The first round, as usual, the longsword competition.
Ready?
And here we are, and off we go.
Fight!
Sergey Ukolov against Alexei Petrik. Two Russian fighters of highest class meeting up in the 1 versus 1. And it looks as though Petrik is probably the most challenging adversary Ukolov has fought so far in this Battle of the Nations 2014. Petrik very aggressive, moving forward, closing in on Ukolov, trying to score quickly. A very dangerous moment there for the organization team, who were talking on the side of the list and almost got hit by the fighters closing in. And I think that Ukolov lost a part of his armor. Both fighters are ready and set for round 2, the sword and buckler competition. And here, no, we have to wait. The marshal's still talking. And here is the confirmation. Ukolov has won the first round.
Fight!
And we're going with round number 2. Alexei Petrik against Sergei Ukolov. And after the 1 versus 1 finals, we'll have just a short break and then we'll go on with the 5 versus 5 competition. The finals in the group battle, when we will determine the winners of the last competition in Battle of the Nations 2014.
Stop!
The sword and buckler round 1 is finished. Marshals discussing.
Ready? Fight!
And the fighters are set and off we go. With round 2 in the sword and buckler contest. And this fight between Sergei Ukolov and Alexei Petrik has proven to be a very entertaining one so far, with Petrik charging up aggressively, trying to score against his very famous and undefeated opponent, Sergei Ukolov.
Ready? Fight!
And here we go with the 3rd round of competition in the sword and buckler fight between Ukolov and Petrik. I just look inside the helmet of Alexei Petrik. He is eager, he wants to win this fight. And he wants to stop the reign of his compatriot Sergei Ukolov. And this is stopped. This fight is over. And the fighters are getting ready for round number 3 in this fight between Sergei Ukolov and Alexei Petrik. The 2 Russian contenders, 2 of the top contenders of this planet.
Fight!
And here we go with this fight. The 3rd and final round, the decisive round in this battle, and let's see how it plays out. Russia versus Russia, Ukolov versus Petrik. Sergei Ukolov retreating just a little, letting his opponent come forth and then countering quickly and scoring big time. Petrik very aggressive, but Ukolov has taken control of this fight. He's got the high ground now. And I don't think that he will let this win slip away from him. Let's see how it plays out in the last minutes, in the last moments of this battle between Ukolov and Petric. Fighters are clinching and the marshals are quick in breaking the clinch up.
Fight.
And here we go again.
Stop.
And the fight is stopped. The fight is done and dealt with. And now we're waiting for the official result. For the final result in this fight between Sergei Ukolov and Alexei Petric.
And the winner is...
And the winner of this fight is Sergei Ukolov! Sergei Ukolov is the winner of this bout.
Fight!
And off we go. Lapik versus Petrik in the longsword competition. And just look at that speed, ladies and gentlemen. Just look at the velocity of these two fighters battling it out on the list. Lapik trying to chop down his opponent's left leg, whereas Petrik is hard hitting the head of Lapik with a few heavy strikes. Now the fighters are clinching and the marshals break this fight up. And we're getting back to starting positions. To the center of the list, with the fighters getting ready to continue this first round.
Ready, fight!
And we're on the way again, and it's the same tactics that we've seen just before. Although Lapik seems to be focusing on hitting his opponent's head as well now. And the fight is stopped again. And Petrik's armor is checked. I think there's some damage to his left leg armor. But he looks ready to continue. Although no, he's checking his armor himself now. Apparently something's blocking, not moving as he wants it to. And the marshals are looking now as well. And now the fighters are ready to continue the longsword bow, the first discipline in the triathlon. And Lapik now increasingly focusing, and there is an injury. An injury for Alexei Petrik. His right foot seems to be hurting horribly. He went down and immediately stopped the fight, and Lapik is now checking out that he's all right. But I doubt that Alexei Petrik can continue this fight. I'm afraid he's out. Yes, we need the medics on field, and that, of course, and that I fear means that we have the end of this fight already, with Alexei Petrik having to resign due to a leg injury. A foot or leg injury, I'm not entirely sure as yet. I'll have to just check it out. But I am pretty certain that he cannot continue, and that means the victory for his opponent, for Evgeny Lapik.
For his opponent. And now we are going to see how we are going to proceed.
And I can just see Alexei Petrik standing up now and gingerly walking towards the center of the list. And the question is, can he continue or can he not? He's limping up. But I think he will have to retire, seeing how he moves. Although he's actually getting set up to continue the fight. This has been a surprise for me. I have to admit that this is surprising. He's standing in the middle of the list, waiting for his opponent, for Evgeny Lapik. And now we'll just have to see if Alexei Petrik can continue to compete. But it looks as though he's trying to do so. And now let's see how much the injury is really hindering him for the next few minutes. And listen to the fans applauding the injured fighter moving back to the list and back to competition with visible pain in his face.
So it seems we are going to continue fighting.
And the fight is going to continue. And just look at that sign of respect from Evgeny Lapik, bowing his head. And resigning, he's retiring from the fight, and the win goes to Alexei Petrik.
His fight to Alexei Petrik, and the winner is Alexei Petrik.
Lapik retires from the fight and gives the win to Alexei Petrik.
Боец Лапик отдает свою победу бойцу Петрику.
So the winner of this fight is Alexei Petrik by a respectful retirement from his opponent, who's injured his foot and has decided to retire.
The final battle, the final fight in 1 versus 1 category should be held between winner of last fight and winner before Sergei Ukov. And now you decided to surrender this fight because of injury, and he doesn't want to fight. He could, but he doesn't want to fight anymore with injured leg, so he decided to surrender this fight. So the winner of whole tournament is Sergei Ukov.
And this is a rather saddening moment, ladies and gentlemen. Although being declared the winner of this semi-final bout between Lapik and Petrik, Alexei Petrik has decided not to fight anymore, and Sergei Ukolov is the world champion without a contest. Without fighting in the final, Sergei Ukolov defends his title.
Евгений Лапик признал поражение и отдал победу Алексею Петрику в связи с тем, что он
And that means the official ranking in the Battle of the Nations 2014 one-on-one category is the winner is Sergei Ukolov. Second place goes to Alexei Petrik, and the third place goes to Evgeny Lapik, and that means first, second, and third place to Russia.
Но отказался от него, поскольку бой между Уколовым и Петриком уже состоялся, и в нем победил Уколов. Таким образом, третье место на чемпионате мира «Битва наций» 2014 года Евгений Лапик, Россия. Второе место Алексей Петрик, Россия. И первое место Сергей Уколов, Россия.
Congratulations to the newly crowned, the old and new world champion in the 1 versus 1 nomination, Sergei Ukolov from Russia, who wins this championship without a contest in the final fight, and thus defends his world championship title in a rather unspectacular way. I have to apologize to you, ladies and gentlemen, in the live stream and in attendance, that we do not see the fight that we were hoping for in the finals. So our world champion is Sergei Ukolov.
Gospodo, ovo su bile borbe 1 na 1.